Welcome back. Let's tell you about this particular story now. Some of the country's private schools have been under the spotlight for racism and discrimination against black pupils. But one school aims to change that with the introduction of its first ever parent dialogue on transformation and diversity. Dr. Tim Nuttall is the rector at Stithians College, a private school here in Johannesburg, and he joins me in studio. Doc, thank you very much for your time. So why start this initiative?
Thanks very much, Xoli, and it's great to be here and to be able to share some of our story. The first point I want to make is that this has been a very formal occasion where we've invited our parents to a breakfast, which we've called Saints Parents in Dialogue. Yeah. And the purpose of the breakfast is to bring our diverse group of parents across the spectrum into one place. And we invited Minister Naledi Pandor, who came and addressed us on the challenges facing the future. And then we've also had a facilitated conversation led by Obenewa Ampunsa, who is a Ghanaian American with the Harvard Center for African Studies, and Roy Gluckman of the Cohesion Collective. And they've been facilitating a conversation around issues of transformation and diversity and pointing to the future.
We all know the kind of scandals, if you like, that have plagued the private education sector. Is that why you saw it fit to start an initiative like this one?
I think it's not for that reason. The reason is that we are here to be a school of South African School of Excellence, and so we are wanting to educate citizens for the future who are committed, active agents of change in our country. And so there are three key pillars or constituencies in any school: the students, the staff, and the parents. And I go back to 2009 when St. Stithians developed its transformation statement, which became a public document at the time. We created a transformation and diversity committee in our governing body. And since then, we've developed programs within our schools. We have people employed full-time and part-time within our school to address issues of diversity, inclusion, transformation. And we felt that whilst we have many opportunities for engaging with our parents, we have not done so in a formal manner. So a couple of years ago, I held a Rector Connect on race and racism and addressing that, the challenges and opportunities around being a transforming school. And this is another step on that journey of transformation and diversity, which will be a never-ending journey in terms of building close human relationships with one another.
24 years into our democracy, Dr. Nuttall, would you say that transformation and diversity in the private schooling education sector is taking root, and how does St. Stithians fare on this score?
Right. So, yes, for me, I'm a historian myself, and I think it's really important that we do understand our historical legacy, where we come from as individual South Africans and what we bring to today's relationships and discussion under the umbrella of the Constitution, the respect for individuality, the Bill of Rights. So St. Stithians was a historically white boys' school, and we've grown and developed, and from 1979 we've been enrolling black students, and we have a conscious policy of particularly in our entry points into our school, of setting targets for enrollment of black students, for the appointment of black staff members, because we want to be a school that reflects the demography of South Africa and also brings those many different experiences into a uniquely South African school. So I like to believe that we really are addressing and embracing these as opportunities and not feeling that we are dealing with crises, because that is what some schools have had to address. And no doubt, our students, our staff, and our parents bring South Africa's fractures into school, and we need to be very proactive in dealing and responding to them.
And I'm glad you brought up that point, that private schools are dealing with many crises, particularly on the racial front. I think the country remembers Adam Katsavelos very well. We're not going to, of course, mention here where his children go to school, but we know that they go to some of the top private schools in the country. What, in your view, are you hoping that the St. Stithians parents take away from this dialogue and possibly learn from examples such as those of Adam Katsavelos?
For me, the most important thing is to have the creative and the courageous conversations. For our parents, our staff, our students to express their hopes, their anxieties, for us as a school to create a safe space, but also a space which affirms what is appropriate and what is right and what is wrong. Very important for us to take those moral stances. We cannot defend the indefensible, so we want to be a school that is open, proactive, looking to the future.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tim Nuttall from St. Stithians College. Thank you very much for making the time. Much appreciated. That was the St. Stithians rector, Dr. Tim Nuttall, talking to us about an initiative they started, a dialogue with parents where they're dealing with issues of transformation and diversity.